The U.S. Air Force says it has disciplined 15 people connected to this year's massive intelligence leak that led to hundreds of classified documents being published online. An investigation found that individuals intentionally failed to report documented concerns about Air National Guardsman Jack Teixeira's behavior leading up to the leaks. The Air Force says 15 people ranking from staff sergeant to colonel received punishments, including being relieved of their positions. Teixeira served as a cyber systems journeyman with the Massachusetts Air National Guard. He's been indicted on 6 counts of willful retention and transmission of classified information related to national defense. He has pleaded not guilty. Joining us now, intelligence and national security reporter for the Washington Post, Shane Harris. His reporting is part of the new Washington Post Frontline documentary, The Discord Leaks, that is set to premiere tonight on PBS at 10 p.m. Eastern. Shane, thanks for being on. I want to understand more about the individuals and how they intentionally failed to report what they were seeing. What did that look like?
Well, what the Inspector General found was there were 3 individuals in particular who were sort of in Teixeira's immediate chain of command who spotted him looking through classified documents in computer networks that he had no business looking at, that had nothing to do with his job, which was essentially as a maintenance technician, really there to make sure the HVAC system was working and the computers were more or less plugged in and working. But on 4 separate occasions, people spotted him looking at classified documents, talking about them, taking notes on them in some cases, which now we can see was a preamble to these leaks. They never reported that up the chain because they felt that security officials would overreact, was how the Inspector General put it. I think that perhaps we could infer they didn't want to get Teixeira in trouble. They thought they could handle this internally in themselves, and it turned out that they were profoundly wrong, and the Inspector General cited them for a pervasive security failure there.
And what else did you find when you were working on this documentary with Frontline about Teixeira himself?
Well, what we found was that from a very young age, he was highly interested in military history, in weaponry, in warfare, and in computer games. And what we found, and it might seem sort of improbable to people, but he had a very pedantic kind of nature and enjoyed playing games and lecturing people on the specifics of the weapons they were playing with in shooter games, on sort of like arcane aspects of military history. When he gets then to be in the National Guard, the Air National Guard, and has access to classified information, he's highly interested in the war in Ukraine and how that is playing out. And he derives a lot of satisfaction from being able to tell his friends, hey, I know what's actually going on. I know what the real casualty figures are. I know how many tanks the Russians or the Ukrainians are losing. Oof. And he tells them he knows this because he has access to classified documents. And that's the point where it really takes off, this leaking. And he seems unable to control himself with sharing secrets, not just about the war in Ukraine, but about other global issues, and ultimately shares hundreds of documents allegedly of classified secrets.
And were there revelations about his mental health and questions about why he was in the position he was in with the access to what he had? And I go back to the others who were being punished or lost their jobs. How could they see something like this on someone's computer that they clearly have no business looking at, and they just keep walking?
Yeah, that is still unexplained as to exactly why they felt they could handle this themselves. You know, as to his mental health, we can't speak to that really, but there were some troubling incidents that he had in high school, specifically one where he was suspended for making violent threats about bringing weapons to school and making threats towards black people. Teachers at the school essentially flagged this as potential signs of someone who might actually try to do harm to fellow students. That was apparently found, that police report that was documenting this was found in his background investigation for a security clearance, and it was never transmitted to people at the base who could have kept a closer eye on him had they known that.
Mm-hmm. All right, intelligence and national security reporter for the Washington Post, Shane Harris, thank you very much for joining us. You can catch the Discord leaks tonight at 10 p.m. on PBS.